Here's what's in the news now.
As just this afternoon, a jury found 2 Metro police officers not guilty on all charges in the death of Herman Whitfield III.
Rich Nye has covered this case since Whitfield died while being handcuffed inside his parents' home in April of 22. He joins us live outside the courtroom. Can you tell us what you've learned, Rich?
Ladies, the jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before finding officers Adam Ahmad and Steven Sanchez not guilty on 5 counts each. Now, this originally grew out of a grand jury indictment that included charges of reckless homicide, involuntary manslaughter, and battery. Both officers did not comment as they left the courtroom this afternoon, but their attorney said the officers are both looking forward to getting back on the street to serve their community. They have been on administrative duty the past 2 years while this case was pending. The prosecution argued that Whitfield died because he was an obese man left in the prone position after being handcuffed and officers held him down on the floor. This all happened in response to a call from Whitfield's parents for him having a mental health crisis. But the defense believes Whitfield's heart stopped suddenly while he was being handcuffed, triggered by an adverse reaction to THC gummies.
Let's face it, this was a tragedy. Nobody, especially sworn police officers, aren't in the business of going out and harming people. They're in the business of going out and trying to help people, and that's what they were trying to do that day. So I think it's important that we all understand that that was a tragedy, but it's also a tragedy when the state brings a criminal case against police officers that were just out there trying to do their job.
Whitfield's family left the courtroom without comment today. The family also has a pending civil lawsuit against the officers and the city. And today, the president of the Indianapolis Police Union criticized prosecutor Ryan Mears for ever bringing this case to trial in the first place.
New tonight, we have learned a suspect shot by police on the southeast side this afternoon has died. And IMPD Chief Chris Bailey is sharing what unfolded in the moments before police pulled the trigger. Our Logan Gay brings us the latest details as this investigation begins.
The man with the machete was shot in this parking lot behind me. Right now on scene, there's still a few crime scene units as well as a few other officers. And also the vehicles involved in that crash are still here on the scene. Officers say the victims work in one of the offices here and the suspect is a former employee.
Not at work, right? You don't think that happens at work?
Employees at this office park couldn't believe what they saw when they looked outside their windows. This employee, who asked to stay anonymous, says a call from a friend at a neighboring business is how she found out.
I didn't hear anything, and then we came to the windows and we just seen, 30 cop cars, and it was like, oh my gosh.
Police say a man with a machete crashed into another vehicle with the other people inside. They say when the woman got out of the car, the man struck the woman with the machete, hitting her head and body. The man in the car with her was injured from the crash, but was able to run inside a business. The commotion left some employees wondering why this happened here.
It's not like there's even a high turnover. Everybody that works in these areas has normally been employed here for a while. And
when police arrived, they say the suspect refused to drop the weapon. The officer tried to give himself space, but police say the suspect charged at the officer, resulting in the shooting. The suspect was taken to the hospital and later died. The victims were taken to the hospital and are stable. Police believe the suspect and victims knew each other and that the woman may have been in a relationship with the suspect. Police Chief Chris Bailey says this was a dangerous situation for everyone involved.
Should never be the end to whatever's occurring in your life or whatever's occurring in any kind of relationship, especially deadly violence like this. We're lucky we didn't have a couple of our neighbors killed as a result of this person's actions and, our officer.
The employee hopes her colleagues next door make a full recovery.
It's December, it's Christmas time. You never want to see anything like that going on, period. But, this time of year, it's always sad for anybody involved.
No officers or other members of the community were injured. In Indianapolis, Logan Gay, 13 News.
The officer who fired his weapon has been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation by IMPD Internal Affairs and a civilian majority use of force review board.
2 girls found safe after a car was stolen with the 2 inside. Let's get right out to Emily Longdecker. She's live at the scene. So Emily, what are you learning from police? How did they find this car? How did they find these girls?
Well, Dustin, this is great news to report. We're actually just hearing the two little girls, 4 and 5 month olds. We can hear their cries coming out of this house. I believe that this is them in their car seats. It's our understanding from police that a man here on South Riley Street came outside just a little while ago to get some packages, a package that had been delivered, and he saw two little babies, these two little baby girls in car seats out here in the cold. He thought that that was strange. He got them in their car seats and brought them in warm and called police, and that's when he learned that these two little girls, as you can see right there in their car seats, being taken safe with their family now, that's when this man learned that these little girls had been in a car that had been stolen on South Gimber Street. Now, that happened about 3 miles from here about an hour ago. It's our understanding from police that a car was stolen on South Gimber Street, and a 4 and 5 month old little girls were in their car seats in the back seat of the car. So we were on Gimber Street for quite a while. The family visibly upset, understandably so. Police put out an alert all over social media describing a 2013 gray Hyundai Sonata. They put out the license plate number. It's our understanding from police about a mile from here they found that car. The car was empty, and then here on South Riley Street, a man comes out to get some packages that he had ordered, and he sees two little girls in 2 car seats out here in the cold. And look, it is freezing out here, so it's just really fortuitous that he came out when he did, saw these little girls in their car seats, brought them inside, brought them into a warm area, called police. An ambulance came and checked these two little girls out, and as you saw, they're with their family right now. So it's great news to report, and we're happy to bring it to you here on the southeast side. Dustin, back to you.
This little device can save lives. Our 13 Investigates team found AEDs have saved dozens of children and adults at our local schools. 13 Investigates reporter Sierra Putman is here. And Sierra, you've been looking at why these are not actually required in all our schools.
We found Indiana has sidelined this issue. Experts say you need the device and you need a comprehensive plan. However, we found many schools don't have that plan in place. AED survivors say that's troubling.
I mean, our first one is right up here on the wall.
Whenever Drew Brantley visits a new place, he's always on the lookout.
Right here out in the open, ready to roll if anybody needs it, and it's never locked. You've been on Pace Wednesday, Saturday, right?
IU Kokomo's head baseball coach says in February 2010, he was a high school junior who almost didn't make it home.
I remember waking up for school that morning, eating breakfast, and then that's it. I don't remember anything until coming off of life support.
Brantley collapsed in a weight class at Western High School due to an undiagnosed heart condition. Again, he doesn't remember much, but knows an automated external defibrillator, or AED, saved his life. 14 years later, he's surprised. AEDs are not required in Indiana schools.
Do you think they should be required in K-12 schools?
I do.
How often do AEDs save lives in Indiana schools? The state doesn't know. So 13 Investigates surveyed 125 school districts. 12 reported using an AED at least once on a student. Northeastern Wayne schools reports using them multiple times for students. Even more districts, 27, say an AED was used on an adult.
Hey, crossovers at the line, crossovers, let's go.
Franklin Community assistant basketball coach Howard Ely collapsed back in 2015. Then he was coaching for Perry Meridian at an away game.
I was yelling at the girls because we were still close enough that we could win the game. And I'm yelling at them. I sat back down on the bench, and next thing I know, I wake up, I'm in the hospital. And I guess the first words out of my mouth in the room were, "Did we win?"
After his surgery.
Ely and Brantley both had an AED applied within a few minutes.
Then survival is improved drastically.
Dr. Adam Keene is a pediatric cardiologist at Riley Hospital for Children. He says if an AED is applied within 1 to 3 minutes, survival rates improve.
We're talking about 5 to 10% survival going to 50 to 70% survival.
He oversees Project Adam, an organization that helps schools prepare to respond to a case of sudden cardiac arrest. It's the leading cause of death for student athletes, kids like 17-year-old Jake West. His school had an AED, but it wasn't close to the field where he collapsed.
To think that it could have been prevented is really hard on me.
Now, Julie West is fighting to make AEDs mandatory and for schools to follow best practices.
Having an AED in school is not enough. You have to have the plan.
Project Adam's recommendations include making sure an AED can be retrieved in 3 minutes or less, creating a cardiac or emergency response plan, plus proper training and emergency drills.
Everyone stand clear.
Indiana does require teachers and coaches to receive CPR and AED training.
Shock delivered. Begin CPR.
But that's it. 13 Investigates found while most of the 125 central Indiana districts surveyed have AEDs, only 25 districts have a policy or plan that require a 3-minute retrieval goal, venue-specific plans, and
somebody go get the AED.
Drills like this one in Rochester.
Every child should come home from school.
There's some places that we go play that don't have them, that aren't accessible.
Which is why Brantley's team takes their own AED to away games. One district offered up, it does the same. 5 others revealed they have portable or traveling AEDs.
If something happened and we didn't have our AED available and we didn't do everything that we could, I don't think I could live with myself for that one.
Because you know better.
I know better, yeah.
And while you may get multiple chances to make it home in a game, in life, sometimes you only get one.
Okay, so I'm sure some folks are wondering about cost. Are these expensive for schools?
It's about $2,000 a piece, give or take. There's some state funding. There's also a bill that could bring some more federal funding. And I mentioned that we surveyed more than 100 districts. Well, we took what we found and we put it online. So you can check your school to see how many AEDs they have, and you can even read their policies and plans. Just look for that story in the 13 Investigates section of our website.
All right, Sierra, thanks. And if you'd like to watch Sierra's original story, it is now streaming on demand at WTHR+. Tonight, a caregiver out of Carmel is facing a felony charge, accused of abusing a woman with disabilities. And this was all caught on camera. Our Chase Howell spoke with the woman's mother and an advocacy group about what you should do before hiring a caregiver. But first, we do want to warn you, the video you're about to see is disturbing.
That thud was Cynthia Sartino's daughter hitting her head against the wall after allegedly being shaken and thrown to the ground by her caregiver.
Kimmy even said that she had wet the bed and didn't want to lay back down in it, so the caregiver threw her back in the bed and was choking her and was going to make her lay in it.
Cynthia Sartino says she stumbled across the video on Thanksgiving while reviewing the footage from her daughter's apartment.
It's terrifying because they might accidentally kill her. I mean, you know, they could really, truly hurt her. She totally doesn't get it.
Sartino says Kimberly is 39 years old, but has the mental capability of a 3-year-old.
Her favorite activity is to watch Barney and children's programming. That's where she is intellectually. She's not an adult.
Because of her disability, Sartino says her daughter needs around-the-clock care. That's why she says she put Kimberly up at First Call Living in Carmel earlier this year. And since then, she says her daughter has come home more than once with marks on her body.
She had big bruises on her face, her neck, her arms. You could see she had been grabbed, and all on her chest. And I called them immediately, and of course, they claimed they had no idea what happened. And they said a certain employee had done it, and they were going to fire her, and they did.
I reached out to First Call Living about the allegations and to see if the employee accused of the abuse is still employed. The CEO then sent me a statement in which she writes in part, "We are fully cooperating with law enforcement and the relevant authorities as part of the ongoing investigation, but could not comment on personnel or resident matters."
This is exactly the fear that every single family who has a loved one with a disability goes through.
I showed Kim Dodson, the CEO of the ARC, an advocacy group for those living with disabilities, the video. She says it's horrifying to watch, but says abuse among those living with a disability happens more than people might think.
A lot of times, because they're not able to really verbalize what incident took place, they seem to be an easy victim for people.
Dodgson says as people search for caregivers, they need to ask tough questions like if they've had any sort of issues in the past that ended up being reported to law enforcement. She also recommends joining Facebook groups to ask for referrals. But when Sartino did that,
the reply was, None of them.
Sartino says she was given what they call a pick list when searching for a caregiver to look after Kimberly. It's a packet of more than 100 caregivers. She says it's not only overwhelming, but it also isn't helpful. But Dodgson says to call places like the ARC so they can help you navigate through it.
We get a lot of phone calls from families where we talk to families about what's important to you, what are you looking for specifically in a caregiver, and then we help them craft those questions to talk about in an interview.
Dodgson says that when a person is interviewing someone to look after their loved one, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Reporting, Chase Howell, 13 News.
And again, the worker in that video has been charged with abuse of a disabled person. That's a level 6 felony. We also have links to resources on our website right now if you believe someone is being abused. It has been 3 years since a driver hit and killed 7-year-old Hannah Crutchfield outside her school in Indianapolis. Well, now crews are starting a new project to improve street safety there. Our Anna Chalker shows us what families will see soon outside the IPS school.
When students step outside of George W. Julian School 57, they may have to fight speeding traffic.
Our goal is to reemphasize our commitment to safety, security, and accessibility for all of our students and staff who come through these doors every day.
That's why school leaders want to take away the fear of crossing the street. Through Indianapolis Public Schools' Rebuilding Stronger referendum, crews will tear down Brown Library and turn it into an expanded parking lot. The flow of traffic will also change to make it easier for buses, cars, and pedestrians to get around the school. While renovations start outside, there will also be some inside, as crews upgrade handrails, replace carpet, lights, and communication systems. Demolition on the Brown Library will start on Wednesday, but full renovations will be done by the summer of 2025. In Indianapolis, Anna Chalker, 13 News.
And that project is the latest in a long list of improvements set for several Indianapolis public schools over the next several years. IPS has already broken ground on other projects, including Broad Ripple Middle School back in April. The Rebuilding Stronger referendum is paying for facilities improvements and upgrades at more than 20 IPS schools. All right, here's a reality check for parents and teens. Every year, 4,000 alcohol-related deaths involve people under the age of 21. That's according to the CDC. Well, students at Purdue University are hoping to change that and save more lives. Emily Longnecker shows us how.
The students are pushing to expand Indiana's Lifeline law, and they're working with state lawmakers to try and make that happen. One of those students is Jason Packard, Purdue's president of student government. Packard says many students just don't know how Indiana's current Lifeline law works.
It's difficult for students to understand and really be convinced on that idea to call 911 when they're in an emergency.
Under the current law, students who call 911 for an underage friend who's had too much to drink and is in crisis are protected from prosecution. That's not the case, though, for the student in crisis.
I have a lot of concern about the circumstances that are leading individuals to overconsume. And we need to address that, but we can't address that when somebody's in a casket.
Republican State Senator Spencer Deary is co-authoring legislation that would expand Indiana's Lifeline law to give protection to the underage person who's drank too much and is in crisis.
The first step is to stop in a medical emergency and then get them the help that we need.
People just don't want to get their friend in trouble.
Former Republican State Senator Jim Merritt authored the first Lifeline law and says expanding it to give immunity to the underage person who's in crisis will save lives.
If somebody makes a mistake, then everyone will have immunity and they will have learned a lesson.
Jason Packard believes expanding the law is the way to go. He plans to tell Indiana lawmakers that if he gets a chance to testify.
We need the full protection for both parties.
So expect to see Purdue University students at the State House this legislative session if this proposed bill gets a committee hearing. At Purdue University, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
While many people do have a warm place to go during these bitter cold nights, some will be left out on the street. Our Chase Howell talked with folks at Wheeler Mission who say they not only reach capacity, but often exceed it in the colder months.
Each one of these empty bunk beds at Wheeler Mission will have someone experiencing homelessness in it come bedtime.
So they get breakfast, they get lunch, they get dinner.
Brian Crispin works at Wheeler Mission. He says its men's shelter has 258 beds available, but oftentimes they have more bodies than beds. For example, Monday night, the mission housed 332 men, causing 74 guys to grab a mat and pick a place on the floor to sleep for the night. Meanwhile, over at the women's shelter, Crispin says they have 209 beds available, but same as the men's, the need for a place to sleep usually exceeds that.
So when it comes to families, you're talking sometimes those are 4, 6, 8 people in a group, a family with kids. We have a capacity limit when it comes to families. So there is a need in this community for people to step into that space and take in more family.
In the summer months, it doesn't come as a surprise seeing people sleeping in the park or on benches. But as soon as those cold temperatures move in, Crispin says some of the 1,700 unhoused people in Indianapolis come knocking for a warm place to stay.
People that are staying under bridges or staying out in some of these camps that you'll see, that's just not possible. It's life or death outside, and so they need to get inside. They need that warmth, or else, I mean, they literally may not survive the night.
Members of Indianapolis's City County Council on Monday voted to allocate funds for a low-barrier homeless shelter.
It is a critical step. So it is really the difference between our ability to fund the shelter and the housing hub and the co-located services and really build the low barrier shelter that our community desperately needs to fill in the gap.
The project is expected to cost $32 million, and according to the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, will open up 150 additional beds for those in need, something Crispin welcomes.
Piece by piece, when we're all working together, people can be served.
Construction on the low-barrier homeless shelter is expected to be completed in 2026, with the facility opening in 2027 over on East Georgia Street, near Fountain Square. Reporting in Indianapolis, Chase Howell, 13 News.
Wheeler Mission doesn't just house people, they also feed those in need. In fact, on Monday alone, volunteers served about 1,300 meals. During this holiday season, IMPD is honoring officers who died in the line of duty over the last 50 years. They invited the families of those officers to a special service called Project Blue Light. Our Logan Gay shares the impact on families.
Back in the same place where their careers began, law enforcement officers from different agencies gathered once again at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. This time not to celebrate the graduation of new officers, but to remember the ones they've lost.
To remember who they were as a person and to recognize their sacrifice. The heavy, heavy price that they paid to serve others in their communities with honor and dignity until their last breath.
Every holiday season, these officers gather with the families of their fallen comrades to honor them and let their families know neither they nor their loved ones have been forgotten. This year, they added 2 more names to the ceremony. Hendricks County Sheriff's Office Deputy Sheriff Fred Fissler and Newton County Sheriff's Office Corporal Brandon Schreiber.
Yet it is the families of these officers who truly bear the weight of this commitment. You stood by them through the long hours, the missed holidays, and the worries that come with this noble profession. You recognized the perils they confronted and stood by them, fully aware that their dedication was essential to the fabric of our society.
This is something Sarah Shanovez knows well. She's now 24 years old, the same age her brother Noah was when he was killed in 2022 while on duty with the Elwood Police Department.
Now, every time I hear an officer has died in the line of duty, I don't just feel empathy about the situation. I picture in great detail what it must be like for another family to get that call and to have to plan a funeral for someone that was not supposed to die yet.
For the other officers in the room, the ceremony and the words spoken by family members of fallen officers is a stark reminder of what could happen.
We grieve all the things he'll never get to do, and we grieve the fact that we're all getting older without him.
It's a reminder of how fragile life is and that their legacy is not just the badges they wore, but in the love they shared with their families.
If only we could turn back time and relive just a moment with them. The unfortunate truth is that we can't. But I choose to believe that death isn't the end. And somehow, in a way we can't understand, they're here with us.
Because, as one officer said, as long as they live in the hearts they left behind, they'll never truly die. In Plainfield, Logan Gay, 13 News.
The men and women of IMPD gathered this afternoon for a special award ceremony. It celebrated officers for going above and beyond the call of duty. Our Karen Campbell shares some of their inspiring stories.
Family and friends gathered Wednesday for the IMPD Honor Awards program, recognizing officers, staff, and community members for their heroism, bravery, and so much more. IMPD Chief Chris Bailey told officers they are the first to run towards danger when others are running away.
Your courage and selflessness save lives and inspire trust.
His message to staff:
Your efforts often go unnoticed and underappreciated, but you are vital to our success.
One of many moving stories was about Officer Taylor and K-9 Ringo. The team responded to a burglary when a suspect stabbed Ringo several times. Officer Taylor rushed in and eventually administered aid to save Ringo's life, while another officer brought down the suspect.
We're not out there to get a thank you or recognition from the people out there in the city, but we do this stuff because it's something that we're proud of and it's something that we love to do.
Officer Marco Zaragoza was also honored.
Just about every single officer that came up there looked a little uncomfortable. They're not used to this kind of attention because they go out and they do their jobs every day as quiet professionals, putting themselves between good and evil on our behalf, and we should be thankful for that.
Thankful for the work they do to keep communities safe.
All right, Sean, we typically don't see temperatures this cold until next month or so. So we're cranking that heat up a little sooner this year.
We sure are. And as those energy bills then rise, keeping your home warm and energy costs low is a growing concern. So we spoke with AES Indiana today about how to lower those bills. First, clean your air filters and vents. Dust accumulation can really make your heater work harder and then block the airflow.
Another thing you can do is turn your thermostat down by about 8 degrees or so when you're at work and when you're sleeping. And don't set the thermostat higher than you want the heat to be in your home. Take a listen here.
Even if you're trying to heat your home quickly, that actually won't heat your home any faster. It runs your system longer than necessary, which increases those energy costs.
If you're struggling to pay your winter electric bill, there are programs out there to help. That includes the Energy Assistance Program, which can help you out with monthly payments.
Applications are open for that program right now. You can contact your local housing authority for more information, or you can call 211.
Also happening right now, 3 city-county councilors are working on a new proposal that would give a public education boost here in Indianapolis.
This program would give more money to support thousands of students. So where would that money come from? Well, our Marion County reporter Lauren Kostick is looking into it for us.
Those 3 councilors plan to introduce the proposal at next month's City County Council meeting in hopes of creating a new revenue stream dedicated to supporting public education here in the Circle City.
It's an opportunity for the council to come alongside a very strong non-for-profit in our community, but to come alongside families who really need support in that education space.
Council Majority Leader Maggie Lewis is leading the charge with Rise Indy, saying this year the mayor challenged the council to make Indy an education destination.
So we took that charge and then began chatting with Leader Lewis about what could we do and what could be innovative.
Together crafting a first-of-its-kind program that would generate funds specifically for Marion County families. Those dollars would come from developers who receive financial help from the city for big projects.
Those who are doing business with the city that are receiving incentives for capital projects. Those who are receiving TIP funding, we're asking 1% of that funding to go to this initiative.
That money would then go to families who need it the most, with a focus on literacy and math proficiency, transportation, and student services. A new tool that could be a game changer for thousands of students. Now, this proposal still has a long way to go. It will be introduced to the council in January, then sent to the Education Committee for approval before being sent back to the council in February for a final vote. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
All right, the highlight of our house during the holiday, maybe your house too, is often the Christmas tree.
Sure, but what's the best time to buy a live tree? Allison Gormley tells us what's the deal.
Well, the best time to buy is whenever your family will enjoy it the most. That's the easy part. Now, the cheapest time, that's a different story. Here is last year's data from the payment processing company Square. Let's start with the busiest tree buying days. In first place is Black Friday, followed by the first Saturday in December. The third most popular day to pick out the perfect tree, the Saturday after Black Friday. Weekdays, much quieter. The most expensive day to buy a tree last year is Thanksgiving Day, with the average price being $131. On Black Friday, the price dropped just a little bit to $112. The first week of December, prices ranged from $104 to $114. The second and third weeks, roughly $53 to $104. Finally, on the days leading up to and on Christmas, around $51 to $53. So, the closer to Christmas, the cheaper the price. People surprisingly also bought trees after Christmas. The prices during the week leading up to New Year's hover around $50. Allison Gormley, 13 News.
All right, and that's the deal. If you like Allison's What's the Deal segments, catch your show streaming on WTHR+. Just download the app now. You can do that on Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV.
The NBA and college basketball seasons are going full steam, and now the high school teams are back at it as well.
And our Dave Calabro joins us with a big matchup to tip off their season this weekend.
Hi everybody, high school football season is wrapped up. We turn our attention to basketball, and Fishers ranked #1. They take on #2 Noblesville. Garrett Weininger kind enough to join us, the coach of the defending champion Fishers Tigers. Congratulations on being #1, but now the target's on you guys, right?
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate you guys coming out, and it's been an exciting run for our program, obviously, and we feel like we've had a target for a few years, but it gets a little bigger when you win. So now we got to stay doing our thing, keep getting better.
What is the message as you take on Noblesville, #2, just up the road? This is going to be a fun matchup early in the season.
Yeah, you know, every time we've played them over the last few years, it's been really competitive. Coach McClellan does a heck of a job. Super well coached, really well prepared, and it's always a battle, so hopefully we're ready to go.
You've turned this into a basketball school all of a sudden, right? This is kind of fun to see what's happening here. What makes this program special, you think?
I think it's really just the kids and the parents that we have in the program right now. You know, they're really bought into being unselfish, doing whatever it takes to win, you know, sacrificing individual accolades for the good of the team. And when you got good kids you get to coach every day and come to work with, it makes practice fun.
Are you senior heavy? You've got some stars on this team, right?
Yeah, we have 5 seniors back who played some last year. A lot of them played a lot last year. And then obviously the 2 sophomore guards who played a ton as freshmen. So 7 guys back with some experience, and then some guys who've moved up from JV who are doing a nice job.
It's a big task to try to win back-to-back state titles. Do you have the team that can do that again? I know it's way early.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the pieces to be competitive. The key is just not being complacent, you know, continue to do the things that got us to that point, still working hard. You know, I think I told our guys, you know, there's a gap. Like, we may be a little further along right now because we have so much back, but everyone else is going to get better. So how do we keep that, you know, keep getting better ourselves to keep a gap and keep a competitive advantage? And so far they've done a good job being bought in.
Well, here we go. #1 against #2 Friday night on Operation Basketball. Good luck this season.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Nice job.
All right, thanks, guys. And check this out. We're getting a look at the court for the Mudsock rivalry game between the Fishers High School and Hamilton Southeastern teams later this month.
The Fishers Event Center. I was looking at it. I forgot I had to talk. This is really impressive. It's a time-lapse video, shows the basketball court transformation ahead of the games, which are December 20th. I've always wondered how they did that.
Yeah, that is a really cool new facility. I think it's where they're going to hold the graduation ceremonies as well for the schools.
Great for the community and the kids that get to play in a slightly bigger venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.